not.
I
We're
love
gonna
it.
try not to. Okay.
Right.
We're gonna
Provoke.
what now? Okay, I got you. I got you. I got you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Wait a minute.
Howdy,
Where in
howdy
the?
ho, everybody.
Howdy ho.
All right.
I guess we could all start doing whoops when we come on. Everybody, whoop.
Whoop.
I mean, nobody else does it. Why not?
That's true.
Well, first of all, yeah, let me welcome everybody that is on the live chat. I'm actually watching the live chat right now. Uh, tonight I was actually going to touch base on a few things, and I definitely would want everyone's interaction.
Sure.
Nikki, I know you've been listening in on my all my latest little Squatch thought videos.
Yeah.
And the last couple of ones, I've been getting requests to speak about different things, and I'm looking back at some of the ones I've been talking about, and I have not been fully discussing a lot of details like we normally would do if we do it as a group chat.
Right.
So I'm trying to think. There's a couple. I don't want to go over all of them, but let me look at. I'm looking through my phone right now, trying to pull it up.
Hey guys, what's up?
All right,
Hey, Bob.
we got Bob on here. Awesome.
Good.
I don't know how long I could stay. I'm at my mom, and today is her birthday, so I'm just on here real quick. Want to say a quick hi.
Cool.
What's up?
How you guys doing?
Not bad. Okay, I just got a message from Baltimore. He's actually going out of town. He's going to pick his mom up. So, and
Okay.
Bob, actually, and talking about moms, Bob, it's your mom's birthday, right?
Yeah, today's my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday,
Awesome.
Mom.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Yeah, right now she just went to the corner. She should be back any minute now.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to remember one of the some of my
Cutting out
discussions
again.
I've had. Oh
Hey,
no.
we're static.
Yeah, it's his wire over there.
Hey, Daniel, switch headsets.
I don't have no extra headsets.
Oh, now you sound better.
Do I sound clear right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
You know
you
what
go.
it is? I unplugged my microphone, and you're hearing me speak directly through the computer.
Much better.
Well,
There
you can
you
do
go.
that for tonight because it'll work.
Okay. Well, you guys will I'm sure you guys will keep me informed if it does it again. So, awesome. Long as my daughter doesn't start saying, because then anything in the house will be heard through the. I'm in a closed room right now, so it shouldn't affect anything.
That's cool. We'll hear her.
Yeah. So, all right, on the live chat, first of all, we got Jimmy Blanton, and we got Tracy Arnold is in the house.
Ooh,
We
What's up,
got
brother
yay.
Tracy?
Yeah, we got Brandon Moore, and Brandon Moore, actually, that's his name on Facebook as well, but he goes by his name on Facebook, Brandon Moore, 1981. I'm assuming that's the year he was born. I'm a year older than you.
I'm old. I'm very old.
And then we got Chubbs 008. And so, all right. My latest uploads, my Squatch Thought videos, they range from 5 to 10 minutes or so long. They're short little, I don't know what you want to call them. Some people might refer to them as tidbits or whatever. They're just little thoughts of the day because, as you know, I always find myself with something on my mind every day, and I just, figure when it pops up, I'm gonna go ahead and discuss it, talk about it. So I decided to start recording them and doing short little things when time permits as well. And then I noticed sometimes some of the topics seem like they're kind of touchy to some people, and it seems like they've been being taken as a personal attack. And my thing is, my videos, if anyone's listening and paying attention to them, it just really is addressed to everybody, and I don't even exclude myself because I'm a part of this, and we're all part of this together in the Bigfoot community. And so there's a lot that we should be able to learn together. And like I know others have said it, and I'll say it too. Yeah, we're all supposed to be able to work together, not but you just have some people out there that like to go against everybody. You got some people that are kind of high and mighty that's how they look at themselves. But so when I address these topics, there are a lot of them are my thoughts and my opinions. So one of my Squatch thoughts, one of them was been talking about tracks. The other one, somebody asked me about bears versus Squatches. So little things like that. And a lot of people are liking my little videos. I've been getting a lot of feedback on them. And then there's a few others. Like I have one. It's called my Squatch Thought: Storytelling versus actual witness. And and some of these, like for example, this one right here, storytelling versus actual witness. There's people that I do believe that will share, create stories for attention. Then again, there's those who actually have stories because they actually witnessed something and actually have something to really share. So, and then I do believe, on the other hand, in some cases, you have stories that may have been a little something, but then maybe they got blown out of proportion, exaggerated, and which I could see that happening, because it's kind of like the old saying, if you're a fisherman, you go, you catch a nice sized fish, but the story, every time you tell the story, how people joke how the story of the size of the fish keeps getting bigger and bigger. Well, I think that's the case with Squatches. But kind of give you guys a roundabout idea where I'm getting at with that, with that particular one right there. So I don't know, Nikki, just out of curiosity, do you have a favorite one that I've done, or any? I know there's a couple you've commented on briefly, but
no, I like them all. I like them, nice and short, and we can watch them, because during the day, a lot of times, we're busy. But
right.
I'll stop and watch it, so I don't have time for really long stuff. And I think they're just the right amount of time, to get your point across. And then it's something we can go into further, on a Friday.
Right.
So I think it's a good lead up for the podcasts on Friday.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, quick shout out. We got Bigfoot and Beyond in the house.
It's Bill Brock, ain't it?
Yeah, Rock.
Awesome.
Rock. Is that his last? I don't remember.
Bill Brock. Yeah, last name's Brock.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, and yeah, Chubbs just made a statement, and yeah, Bill just confirmed, saying true, talking about hoaxers and trolls make it hard, and yeah, Bigfoot and Beyond said that's true.
It's true, but we gotta be above that,
Right.
It's hard when you get to be the focus, but I think at some point it does get old, and you just have to move on and be the bigger person, So.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I know a lot of people in the Bigfoot community that a lot of us, we like doing this. It's a fun, as some people call it, a hobby, whatever how you want to look at it. It's become a passion for some of us. And we really enjoy doing this, but a lot of us have been in this deep enough to where we look at this as a project, more or less, where we want to learn from it. We want to learn for ourselves. And that's how it was for me. And then I've taken it to the extreme to where what I learn, I want to be able to share what I learn with others. And then over the years, it's become pretty evident from my observations through social media, how a lot of people easily lack knowledge and awareness of wildlife. And that's why you guys hear me speak about a lot about wildlife, because and I know this sounds like a broken record, but how can you understand Bigfoot, which is to me, I consider him an unknown. So how, if you don't know what is known, how could you go seeking the unknown? And so you got to understand what is known. And I can't stress that enough. You got to become familiar with your wildlife, and understand how to identify their tracks and so forth. So
the track video that you did was very well. I mean, that's one of the crucial steps in Bigfoot research is knowing your tracks. Daniel, the back foot of a bear is very, very similar to a human, as well as it's mistaken all the time for a Bigfoot. But a lot of the bears, they've got that little circular pad that's on the back. I mean, it's a perfect circle, or maybe it's on the front. I'm sorry, but it's a perfect circle that's behind the actual main pad. And you don't see that a lot unless you're in, the right terrain. So yeah, I've seen that just a few times at that circle. But great track video, on raccoons and opossums with the little feet and little hands per se.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's funny you bring that up. One of the reasons is because I've seen I forget the name of the Bigfoot group, but somebody last name Parkinson. I can't remember the first name, but last name Parkinson shared some tracks, and there was actually a couple different tracks in there, and one was definitely a raccoon track, and one was a possum track, and it was actually funny because I was reading the capture. Now I don't think the individual was stating that the tracks belong to what he was referring to as little people. But when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. He was trying to get some thoughts, people's opinions about what kind of tracks those might be. And I was like, I mean, there's so many field guides out there. Anybody could look on social media. Anyone could Google animal tracks. So think about what you might think it is and look it up, compare it, And sure enough, I mean, you got raccoon tracks and possum tracks. Some of them could be I can see how some of them could be mistaken as either or. A lot of times your raccoon tracks are usually a little longer, And if you look up a possum track, a description of a possum track will actually also be described as looking like an infant human baby's handprint. Is exactly what it says online. So yeah. But they're not human. They belong to a possum, and so that's why I brought that up. And when I actually brought that up in my live, in my that Squatch Thought video talking about tracks. Well, that particular one there got. I think some people blown that out of proportion and thought that was a personal attack. It wasn't. It just I used that as to address others, everybody in general.
Weren't they Pukwudgie tracks? Isn't that what it's called? A Pukwudgie?
I think that's what some people call them. Yeah.
Isn't that a cool name? A Pukwudgie.
I always thought they were bigger, though. I always got the impression that they were Pukwudgies could be any size.
Oh, really? Huh. I always thought they were short.
The bluesman Sasquatch chaser said Pasadilla.
Or Pasadilla.
I don't know. I don't think I've heard that one before.
I've never heard that.
Nah, that's a new one.
Of course, I never saw a golden possum either until Zach showed me.
He didn't show me. Did he actually post a picture in the group chat? Because I didn't see that.
You didn't see it?
No.
Oh my God. It's the most weirdest thing. Let me see if I can pull it up on here. Oh my goodness. I've never seen one. And I actually said, what the heck is that? Because I had never seen it.
Oh, the Pasadilla that the bluesman Sasquatch chaser was talking about. I think he's just being funny. He said it's part possum and part armadillo.
Okay, let me see. Where's my camera? Look. Put me up on the thing.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Give me 1 second.
What is that?
I'm on a different page, Nikki. Hold on.
What is that, Nick? A golden possum.
It's freaking awesome.
Isn't it?
Hey, he's cute.
He is cute. Look at him.
Look how he's walking.
Now that's
cool.
different looking. It don't look like your normal possum.
No, we can't see his tail, of course, but
yeah, because possums are usually fat, round, and really ugly.
Yeah,
put me up on the main screen so people can see on the thing.
Hey, is a flying squirrel a marsupial?
Hold on, Nikki. I got you set up to where it's presenting to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll put it on there one more time.
That is so cool.
You want to be alive?
Let me go back. Do
you want to say hi?
Yeah, Bill Brock was asking on the live chat. He's how long has ECBRO been in existence? Well, I started social media as the ECBRO in 2012. I've actually been establishing research, to be honest with you, since 2010. And of course, I got on social media around 2011, late 2011, and I eventually formed the ECBRO. So yeah. So if you want to get technical, I wasn't labeling myself as the ECBRO when I first started Bigfoot research, but I've been involved since 2010. So, yep. So that answers that. Okay.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah.
Hey, that particular person that keeps going around saying that he's got this and he's got that. Well, I think what he needs is this. Hold on. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. 1 second here. This is what he needs to calm him down.
Oh, my mom likes that stuff. That's like that.
That's you just
a couple
put it in a little hot cocoa and it's really good.
I don't know. Maybe I haven't tried it the right way, but I always thought it was like yucky. Like blah.
You have to pair it with Bailey's Irish cream, and then it is delicious.
Huh. Very interesting.
Yeah, like a shot of milk.
Mm. Awesome. But yeah, as far as let me add real quick too. I know a lot of people in the Bigfoot community, the ones that are familiar with wildlife.
You just went to
a lot of us grew up in the wildlife. Since we were young children, and that's how it was with me. And thankful and blessed to have had a father who had me out in the woods. Just tagging along with him hunting. And getting familiar with nature and in general. So, I was always out in the woods with Dad, and where we lived up north in Mass, we lived was surrounded by woods. And of course, if you go up there now, a lot of those woods, a lot of them are wiped down. There's houses built up there, and I know that's how it was when we first moved to Virginia. There's parts of Spotsylvania, Virginia, that was well wooded. And now it's all grown up with subdivisions, stores, businesses, Walmarts, or whatever you got. It's amazing how we lose a lot of our forest over the years. Just from all the growth of business. So it's like many others, I grew up in the playing in the woods. So and got to observe different various wildlife throughout the years. So, yeah.
Where are you from again? Maine or where?
Who, me?
Where are you from again? Yeah.
Oh, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, yeah.
Yeah, I got two sisters that still live up there. Well, they actually live in Rhode Island. So, yeah. But, we're all originally from Massachusetts. But my sister's, Melanie's divorced. She's got her 4 kids. Well, her oldest doesn't live at home right now. She's like 26, and Melissa, she's got grandchildren. Her 2 oldest one's married and got 2 kids. So yeah. So, but
Hey, I got a good idea. Maybe we ought to tell that person those are cat tracks.
What? Cat tracks?
Yeah, cat tracks.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was debating on even bringing this other one up. You know, and it's been kind of a special thing that's been going around lately. Everybody's talking about the Patterson footage again. I mean, it's been a talk for years, but it just seems lately there's listening to people from both sides. It's kind of been a depressing topic lately. I don't know. That's my opinion. So
yeah, it is. But it just got way overblown. Lately, and it's
way over. Yep.
People are unfriending each other, and it's it's really crazy.
Well, I've noticed that too, because if I'll share a link regarding, hey, check this out, look at what so and so has to say about this. Like, for example, I shared the latest Richter Riolo off the Richter episode. I shared that on my page. I don't know why. I'm assuming that may have been the cause of I've had several people unsubscribe me, which that's no big deal. I mean, it's whatever.
No, but we're getting much more. You're getting many more subscribers anyway.
Oh yeah, they come and go. So I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, it's not, and the thing is, that's no big deal. I don't stress over that. And it's not just that, but I've had. I meant to actually say I had people unfriend me, but yeah, I have had a few minor unsubscribe. But either way, it's funny how people do that, even over football. I mean, yeah, I'm a Patriots fan, so I'll probably lose by saying this again. I'll probably lose more now. So
yeah.
So it is what it is. So
go Browns!
Come on! First the Saints are robbed.
Hey, Bob, did you just say go Browns?
Yep.
I took them to the Super Bowl earlier.
Hey, I got a question.
I don't think they make it to the Super Bowl.
Got a question.
Yeah, what's up, Sam?
Have any of you all Googled Cliff Barrickman expeditions?
I have not.
No, I can't say that I have.
Do it, and see what it costs to go on an expedition for 2 people.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll blow your mind. It'll really blow your mind.
2 shots.
Let me guess. It's about what, $350 a piece?
No, you're way off, man.
Or $500 a piece?
If I saw it correct, I'll have to look back there and see. I think it was 2 people was like $1,200.
Wow.
Now,
hey, everybody,
with Dr. Meldrum.
That's my mom.
Hi, Mom. Happy birthday.
Hey.
Yay.
Hello.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
That's my mama.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. We're talking Bigfoot.
Thank you. Yeah, we gotta find Bigfoot.
Awesome.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm going to check this out, and it won't take me a second to type it back in.
Yeah, let us know what you find out. But all right, now 1,200. Yeah.
I was just gonna say I was never interested in Barackman or Renee or Bobo or Matt Moneymaker. Never interested me to follow any of the stuff they put out. I don't know why. There's too many other really good people out there to follow.
Yeah.
I mean, that.
Well, as far as with that being said, if they're that expensive, like if, for example, 2 things. First of all, he's a known celebrity through finding Bigfoot, so he's got popularity. The other thing is I'm looking at, he knows some key hotspots. He's very familiar and got probably a lot of insight on a lot of locations, which that's cool. The other thing is Well, the other question is, with some of that money, is he actually providing anything with that? Because the BFRO, for the same thing, for the very same thing, I've said this numerous times before too, for the same kind of expeditions that we host and hold, annually here in Virginia, in a very squatchy area, very active, full of wildlife, et cetera, et cetera. And when I say it's squatchy, I'm not just saying it because of the activity and the encounters I've had personally, but there's other eyewitnesses who actually had seen them in my area. So there's squatches that do inhabit that area. So, and it's a very remote, vast area. And with that being said, when I invite people out there, I want people to come out there and to experience nature, to come out there and so we can show them around, in hopes that maybe they might see something or experience something for themselves. But we don't never charge nothing. But the BFRO will do the same thing. They'll host these expeditions, charging anywhere from $300 to $500 a person. And I mean, one of the locations they were holding an expedition is where my sister, my nephew actually had a Boy Scout event. And my sister was up there, doing his Boy Scout thing a few years back. And I was like, and she was telling me exactly where they're at. She's like, yeah, the BFRO are just here about a week ago. I was like, wow. That was, a few years or so ago, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Chubb said BFRO is a $300 trip with them. Yeah. I know one thing, the BFRO will not. It. Yeah.
I saw it the other day. It's killing me.
Oh yeah, Nikki, thank you for posting it on the live chat. Yeah, our ECBRO campout is right after the conference, and it's free. Absolutely. Free. Yeah, it's a week long, and it's free. Also, we have another event that's happening a little sooner. And it's taking place in April. Ted Van Son of Paratalk Radio. He's actually bringing a group down from New York. I'm not sure. I need to get a head count, but it sounds like it's going to be fairly decent. And they're mainly paranormal. Basically paranormal Bigfoot group. I mean, a paranormal group, but they want to come down and do some Bigfooting. And they had asked me to lead the investigation, which I was more than glad to do so. That's going to be April 27th and 28th. So it's going to be a weekend thing. I'll be going out there on the 26th to get set up. And there's also another project that's being included in that, which I'll discuss at a later date. There'll be some filming going on there and recording. I know the crew coming down from New York, they're going to be doing some filming and interviews and so forth. And then there's going to be another individual who will be doing a filming project that includes me. In the making of a documentary that's being worked on, which I'll work out the details and share more information very soon with that. Because we actually been working on some finalizing with some details. So yeah, Bill Brock, man, come on down. Again, we got the event going on April 27th, 28th. Hey. And then the June conference, the ECBR conference is June 29th. And then following that, a whole week after that, we'll be camping. And it's going to be in the National Forest here in Virginia. So, hold on. There was a question from Jimmy Blanton, something about camo. Let me see what he was saying. Let me go back to his question. What about Bigfoot and camo? Do you think they hide themselves mentally? I think it's hair, fur, patterns like the rest of the wildlife. In my honest opinion, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Brock. His name is Brock. Okay. But yeah, Jimmy Blanton. Just like a lot of wildlife, I do believe they use, just the environment, everything around them. It's natural. Some areas, like I like to believe that, like especially if you're in an area that's full of heavy pines, dark wood, cedars, and stuff like that provide a lot of dark cover or shade. When you got a lot of these pine trees and thick brush, I do believe they blend right in sometimes. Sometimes they might fool the naked eye. I don't believe they use any special abilities to hide. Yeah, that's my opinion. I don't believe they use any special abilities but their own natural camouflage. Deer, certain times of the year, deer really blend in. I mean, I've walked up on deer, which that's kind of rare to walk up on a deer, but I never knew it was there. So sometimes a lot of wildlife blends in.
All right, I found it. Well, I found something. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I got excited. All right. So on the very first part, it says, Daniel, North American Bigfoot expeditions, which that's Cliff, are not the only public Bigfoot expeditions available. And he talks about the BFRO and the Olympic Project. And then he says, however, I've made the efforts to set these expeditions apart from the others in several ways. My prices are a little higher, but in my opinion, so is the value. And it just goes on to list, everything you get with the trip. And then Dr. Meldrum and Bobo are the guests on the next one. Bill Blart. Y'all know that person?
Sounds almost familiar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know that either. But it doesn't give a price. I'm telling you, I saw prices somewhere, but yeah. They're high. I'm telling you, it's just wild how much they charge.
Yeah. I failed to plug in another event, and thank you, Jimmy, for reminding me there. June 8th in Kentucky. Harlan, Kentucky is holding their second annual Harlan, Kentucky Cryptic Con. And that is hosted by Mr. Jimmy Blanton. You could find information regarding that on Facebook. There is a Facebook page for that, so definitely check that out. And Jimmy also hosts a weekly podcast in the Land of the Giants, also known as Ninja of the Woods as well.
So let me have 2 Whataburger Juniors.
Hey, turn your mic off.
And
I'll get him.
Whataburger Juniors, and
please. What the heck?
One of them was lettuce, one of them was no lettuce.
He didn't know.
Funny. It's funny. He didn't know.
Give me an onion ring.
Just
yes, that's correct. And make sure that the buns are dry.
I want to know where he's ordering.
He said make sure the buns are dry.
What'd you do?
Correct.
Why are we paying?
Only on our podcast.
Baltimore, they're picking on you.
Hey, Baltimore, what's up, dude?
Hey,
that's why I got him.
That's great.
It's your drink. I'll take a small root beer.
Dude.
Mama, a small root beer. Mama, can you drink? And a small Sprite.
That's hilarious.
I'll take a number 7, extra large.
Huh? Hey, sorry about that, guys.
You're fine. It was funny.
Jimmy wants a chocolate shake. Don't forget that one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to go over here to get a Whataburger.
Brock said he wants an egg McMuffin.
Oh man.
Oh man, Bigfoot Wilderness is here. All right.
Bigfoot Odysseys here too. Carrie's
nice. All right.
Hey, are they bringing back another TV show, or is Moneymaker? Did I read that right? He's trying to put something together.
That's very possible. I think he had something going on with something that were related to Native Americans.
Yeah, so you saw that. Yeah, it's supposed to be Native American related, and it might be quite interesting knowing him. I'm kind of excited about it being Native American,
Yeah,
be cool.
Absolutely. Just for the record, anybody on the live chat, if you have questions,
I tried his, but his made me cough.
Please feel free. We'll try to address them.
Hey, you have to put him on mute.
I just did.
I don't think he understands.
Yeah, because he's loud. He's very loud to begin with. So
that's nasty.
Oh, what happened?
Don't do that. Oh man.
Don't do what?
No, you didn't even.
Did
Is
you,
this on? Huh?
Let me show you.
What?
What is he doing?
Bobcat? Bobcat?
Gosh,
Is it on?
yeah, yeah. You need to chill out, man. Bobcat.
Bobcat. You can't hear us.
No, you have to
Bobcat.
press it. Give it
look.
power.
Cut him off, Daniel. Cut him off.
I just did. Yeah, because that could.
Yeah, you need to cut him off, and yeah, that could ruin everything.
Yeah, that could.
We apologize for that, folks. That no, we didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought it was just a vapor thing at first. So
Well, it probably is, but still.
yeah, it didn't look that way.
But anyways.
Okay.
Tracy Arnold's asking how many members are in the ECBRO. You know, as far as members, we have a lot of people that support and who represent us. But however, the pinpoint actually be specific on members, I can't give no actual number. I do know there's we got individuals out in the Midwest. We got people down in Australia that follow and support us. I know there was one lady. She lived all the way in Romania. She used to follow and watch. She loved everything. She used to buy every time I do a T-shirt fundraiser. She was always buying T-shirts from us. So I don't know. There's people that follow, and support the ECBRO. So yeah, as far as to give a number on members, I can't really give anything specific on that. But I would say this here, to be honest with you, I do believe it's quite a bit. So another question Tracy threw there: how many divisions of the ECBRO are actually active now, and how many members do we have now? Well, as far as divisions of ECBRO right now, besides here in Virginia, besides basically me, there's actually you, Tracy Arnold. You're actually the co-founder. There's other groups that started, but I wouldn't quite say they're active. A lot of people started off with a lot of enthusiasm and everything, but it's really hard for me to keep up, and they don't show anything as far as being active. So I don't know. It's more of a kind of a embarrassing question, really, because really I don't know who's active, who's not these days. So I don't know if that answers that question. All right. What we got?
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where do you think that these creatures during these cold times maybe try to find shelter in caves? Now we say that, or maybe rocky overhangs, but wouldn't you think that bears would also be inhabiting those areas as well? Yeah.
Well, actually, with that being said, there, with the way you worded that, you actually kind of brought up a couple of my Squatch Thought videos. And before I respond to that, Bigfoot Odyssey was asking about what's tonight's focus. And basically, I want to kind of touch base. And what we're kind of going over is some of the latest mentions that I put up through my Squatch Thought videos. And with what Sam just asked, that was actually a very good question, because one of the things I talk about was Bigfoot and climate in the cold climate, and how we talk about how he survives and everything else. But well, as far as shelter goes, you brought up bears as well, and I use bears in comparison with Sasquatch, and in a lot of different ways. If we're shelter-wise, I do believe they use similar shelters. I mean, that's my opinion. I really do. I do believe because a bear will use a down fallen tree as shelter. They'll actually create their own shelter. People don't realize that bears will actually drag brush and form shelter. And although it's very rarely observed, it is a true fact that bears will use fallen limbs and other brush, take refuge under. But again, one thing when I find a lot of down trees in the woods that have some of the big root ball systems uprooted, I try to approach those areas with a lot of extreme caution. You do not want to walk up and sneak up on a bear if it might be, because a bear might have used that and formed, dug out a burrow or a den. So those are things to be very cautious about. So yeah, absolutely, Jimmy. No, Tracy, no, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. Yeah, rock ledges and stuff like that. A number of species will use those, like especially mountain lions. That's another thing. Mountain lions love rock ledges and anywhere that will form a den where they could escape into from out of the elements. But it's more common where a lot of bears will use these too. However, if it's big enough for a squatch to get into, there's one particular area I can recall in my area. It has what would appear to have a couple small cave or den type structures where you can see the openings that go into the side of the ridge. Now, some of these, of course, I haven't had up close observations of these because I was actually observing this from the opposite ridge in the distance while I was zoomed in through my camcorder of the one I had at the time. And they did appear to be pretty cool looking openings. Thing is, could they be used as squash openings? It really all depends on the opening, how big they are. I would take them more as a bear den, but yeah, I don't know if I'm really answering your question properly, Sam. I guess overall, yeah, they can be used as either or. But at the same time, I think bears and squatches, in my opinion, I believe they kind of avoid each other most of the time. So let's see. That's weird. Harold Denton is asking if there's any more news been circulating on the web this past week about the North Carolina boy who was rescued. I haven't heard nothing new, to be honest with you.
I haven't heard anything.
No, we won't.
Yeah.
They're going to shut that down quick.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Bigfoot Odysseys asking, what if they could speed up or slow down their metabolism to adjust to cold, increase thyroid hormone? Absolutely. And that's a part of hibernating. And that's how a lot of species that do hibernate, this is exactly what they do is, like bears, for example, for the ones that do hibernate, because not all bears hibernate. And as the season starts to get colder and seasons are changing, they take in a lot of protein, a lot of they put on that fat because they survive off the calories as their metabolism and their body becomes almost down. They kind of shut down, almost like a dormant. I don't want to. Yeah, they go into their deep slumber. As they hibernate. So yeah, I think I do believe that to be very, very possible.
Kevin has a question.
Yeah, all right, Kevin, what's your question? And we got Cassie. Casey Rue. Casey Rue
from New Mexico.
Yes, indeed. How you doing, Mr. Casey? All right. Well, meanwhile, we'll wait on Kevin's question.
Daniel
knows what the question is.
What is all the cryptid crap? What is going on?
What cryptid crap? What'd you say again? Say that again.
No, it's just like secret or what?
Well,
I don't know. Let's move on.
How many people we have on the chat right now?
26.
No, actually, on the panel is just the four of us right now. So, well, to answer your question, we already had to knock off one, so that says anything. So going home through some back road Squatch area. Nice, nice. So, yeah, he said bingo. So, yeah, his secret question was, could he come on the panel tonight?
Oh.
Yeah. He didn't ask it, but that's what he was getting at. So that's why I said we've already had to knock off one earlier today. So
Who is this?
Bobcat Wong said, "What's a Bigfoot? Is it a ghost?"
Could be.
Bob, now you have sounding like Gary Johnson. I don't know.
He's in the chat too.
Some sightings could be spirits of a ghost.
Yeah,
Spirit of Bigfoot.
Absolutely. I think when it comes to, I'm like Nikki. When it comes to paranormal, like ghosts and everything else, I really think it's separated. I don't relate the two together. So.
Yeah, I don't either. But I do believe they can happen at the same time.
Yeah.
But not related to each other.
Right.
That's just my opinion. I mean, who knows, right?
Right.
Kevin said, "That's okay. I know when I'm not wanted." Yeah, you're right. You're not. I'm just joking, Kevin. No hard feelings. Oh Lord. So, what else we got here? All right, we got some cool questions here. Anything else? Anyone else got any other questions? We love answering questions.
Don't leave, Kevin. Don't leave.
He said, "Fine, I'll leave then." So, what are you still doing here then?
Oh God.
I'm sorry, I'm full of myself. This coffee's got me going right now. I'm drinking coffee right now, and I'm kind of wired up right now. Can I get
what? I want to know what Baltimore's doing. Baltimore didn't ever come back on.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
He's eating, that's why.
Yeah, he's being secretive.
Oh yeah, just listen to the show.
Hey, feel free to jump in at any time, Baltimore. If you feel like you want to share anything. Yeah. Well, let me see something here. Todd D sent me something that I sent earlier. Remember that one? It's a joke about the couple having sex in Ohio and wearing Bigfoot costumes.
Oh yeah. Have you guys seen that? Oh my God. In Ohio, right? Supposedly, if it's true, or
no, I read
really not true.
It's not true because the whole website, the link is out. If you browse all the way to the bottom, it says this is a satire and fictional. Okay. Yeah, it's all fictional.
Yeah, I mean, it even made each of them get shot 3 times and everything. Okay, what are we talking about next? Give us a topic, guys.
Oh, I got a message.
Let's go back to shelters.
Shelters.
Yes. Now, let me ask you all this. Now, a lot of people have actually used like snow to make shelters out of snow, and it actually can hold heat, and that could be another form of a shelter. And then everything depends upon your terrain where you live at. Because down here, you have the big oak trees down here that they actually drape down, and they could also use that as shelter. I mean, I've actually seen homes where a certain Bigfoot made a house and made from a lean-to, and the lean-to does not take very long to build. It would probably take us. Humans, it would probably take me like around 20-30 minutes to make a lean-to, and by the strength of this animal, there's no telling how fast he can make it.
Yeah. Well, another thing too, talking about lean-tos, I think also a lot of that would depend on if you find or come across a natural fallen tree that might have the proper angle where you could probably add to that, and I mean, that's a good possibility. I have found similar things like that up in the woods where it looks like something or somebody had used it to either build a lean-to or like almost like a possible blind, perhaps. Um, hmm. Um, I don't know. It's interesting.
See, and also too, I mean, everything depends upon your terrain.
Yeah.
They're like in the mountains. I'm pretty sure that there's some cavities up there where they could just sneak in. There's no telling the abundance of caves that we.
Oops.
It just is unbelievable. The thing is, again, they have been going to these places for so long, and it's so secret to us, but not secret to them. So. It's just like a water source, where do they go when there's a drought?
Yeah.
They always find water. So.
Here's a question on the live chat, and Baltimore, feel free to take away on this one. Casey Rue's asking, do you think Bigfoots could survive like in rocky desert conditions, like down in Carlsbad, New Mexico?
Oh, sure. Because again, it's like you have your armadillos out there. We have rattlesnakes out there. We got your jackrabbits out there. I mean, there's a lot of fruit out there, in the woods. I mean, out there where they could thrive on.
Yeah.
There's a Native American friend of mine that they actually dropped him in the desert to do some exercises out there. And he was joking about it, that he was the only person that gained weight because all the stuff that he ate from out there.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine there's a lot of rattlesnakes out there. And there's a lot of food out there that we find disgusting to eat. That they could eat all the time.
Absolutely. So, yeah, because Casey, he went on to add afterwards that there's a lot of caves there too. So that's a good use of shelter too if they use them. So
you know what? Casey works out there on the oiled field, and so does Carrie. I wonder if they know each other.
Hey, that's right. Carrie is down there too.
Casey, do you know Carrie Arnold, and vice versa? I think Carrie just got off though, so
yeah,
I don't know if he's still listening.
Because that's a good question. Cindy Howison is asking, hey Daniel, how many Squatch do you think there are in North America? I'm going to try to answer this the best I can. Nikki, Baltimore, Sam, anyone else, you guys feel free to jump in on this. The question is, how many Sasquatch do you think there are in North Carolina? I mean, in North America. Sorry, in North America. That one there, I would have to be very careful how I answer that. But if I had to give an answer on that one there, my educated guess would be that actually it's based more on my opinion, the way I'm looking at this right now. Well, we know here on the East Coast, there's mainly black bear. And, black bears are throughout a lot of the United States. However, then you got your brown and grizzlies and which I'm sure highly populate other parts of the country. Now here, I'm looking at a small picture and trying to think of it as a whole, but like as far as the population of black bear, even though they're elusive, and even though people do see them cross the roads here and there, which is more common to see a black bear than it is a Sasquatch, I do believe that there could be a close equal inhabitants as far as a population, I should say, a close resemblance in population with Sasquatch and bears. Then again, the percentage when it comes to Sasquatch may be slightly less. It's just that we got to look at Sasquatch and consider him as a highly intelligent being, which a lot of us believe that he is, that they have enough more knowledge to avoid us, unlike bears. Bears Bears love to avoid us. They're very shy animals. They don't like to be messed with. But then again, look at Sasquatch. They're more of alert, more of aware of where they roam. And I do believe a lot of them, in most cases, do know enough to avoid certain areas to avoid mankind. So I guess if that makes any sense, I would have to say, in my opinion, that the population would be almost similar to your North American black bear, which, there's a high population, but, think about how often you see black bears. We do see them, but we see them more commonly than we do a Sasquatch. They're seen more in a lot, wherever, but I don't know. So I guess she wants a kind of a general idea. So she's like maybe 20,000 or more. I don't know. I find it tough to give a number, but Nikki, Baltimore, what would you say on this one?
Let Baltimore go first.
I cannot be honest with you. I cannot give an answer because they're always constantly moving around,
right?
And we don't know, how far they travel, or how far they go up north, or how far they go down south. It's just a number that I cannot give. But if I would have to say a number, especially down here between the Texas areas, which is a huge state, I would say that it would probably have to be in the thousands as well.
Yeah. I guess again, if we have to look at a database, or just go based off of the reports that we get and multiply that by, like, say we get so many reports in one state. Now, not every person has got to be seeing the same Squatch. Not in all the locations I'm getting reports from. So if you add up, this is just a rough estimate. I just thought about this. If you take up the number of reports that we gather in each state, or say I'll use Virginia alone, because she mentioned about 20,000. 20,000 would only be the population of a couple counties, which that's not a lot at all. So if we have to, I believe it's way much higher than that now that, looking at it, because based off the reports and sightings from eyewitnesses, you would have to take, 1 year, or I'll take a 3 years reports, which basically it's not much either. But say 7, take the number 7. We'll use 7 for example, and maybe multiply that. And then this is just in one cluster of an area, within a 15-20 mile radius, give or take. So you take 7 reports, so say 7, and in each report, some of them actually I claim to see 2 in a couple of the reports. So, but we're going to stay with 7 for now. So you take 7 and maybe multiply that in the number of counties in each state. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. That might be a little absurd, but that could be a very good possibility, because I do believe that they're highly populated, but more spread out than a bear would be. So I don't know. Did that make any sense the way I just explained that? If you take a small number of reports in one county, and maybe multiply that in each, by the number of other counties, or would you guys think that's a little bit too much?
It makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in that at all.
Well, okay. Well,
I think, yeah. Just, in my opinion, I just think that's a number is way too high.
Yeah.
The sightings would be even more if there were that many. If there were more than 20,000 in America, there would be more sightings.
Well, think about it like this. Maybe it's just the stupid ones that are being seen.
Right. Exactly. What if we go by the thought that 80% of these sightings are misidentification?
Yeah.
Okay. You can't take every incident and sighting for truth.
Right. Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
So you have to factor that into the ratio.
Yeah.
And then, you go from there. But yeah, I think that numbers, I've always been a minimalist, though. I've always thought there's less than people have said there are.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, by no means. By no means do I believe they're populated as much as we are. Because yeah, you're right. I mean, we go out our front door. There's people, passing by all the time. I live on a busy street. And but yeah, the other factor is too. I'm looking at is look at the forest. There's so much forest that we don't go in on. We might visit certain parts of the forest that we may believe are very remote and vast. I know I've gone into areas where it's very, very uncommon for anyone to go into. Not saying they don't, but I go into areas where I like to believe that are not really visited by humans. And those are the areas I love to venture into. And yeah, there's some areas I've gone into and I've questioned myself, what the hell am I doing? Because you're out in the middle of nowhere. You're in an area, there's no people around, there's no campsites in that area for miles each way, and you're traveling in deep into this the ravine or this hollow, and you got a lot of rock structures and ledges up on one side, and you got terrain and thick brush up on the other side. I was like, man, I'm setting myself up for an ambush. But the thing is, my point is, there's areas that we don't go into on a daily basis. So yeah, I do believe that there's a lot of these areas that are just really untouched and may be produced and may actually inhabit a lot more than we realize. And it's just, so overall, I guess the population is going to never really be known to us, just like it is. Sasquatch, we don't have a daily record for them to register, every year for whatever. So, and that's how they go by the general census. We sign up through the government. The government keeps tabs on us, one way or another. So, through.
I think it's a question that'll never be answered.
Yeah,
we just need to get over that one, because I don't think, even if they were discovered, we still won't know how many are out there.
Right. Absolutely. It's fun to try to give it. It's fun to try to give an answer. That's what I'm saying. And one way or another, I think people, enjoy hearing something, and for the record, for those who are still listening to what we're talking about, that was just what I gave out there. I'll answer. Let me put it like this: it was a fun guess, But Nikki hit the nail on the head. We'll never really know, but it's fun to kind of imagine or think about it. So, yeah. So. Yeah, Cindy, yeah, you're right. It's safe to say there's a lot. But I think that's a safe way of saying it. That's a good way of putting it, too. But then again, we don't know, because there's so many that are just unaccounted for that, I'm sure, that don't get seen like that. They're more intelligent to stay hidden, So, all right. And she said, thank you. Good question. Great answers. Well, we try our best. Well,
you just keep me on here because I don't always agree with you.
I got another question. How important is science to prove that Bigfoot is real?
All right, let's say that again real quick. I was actually reading something when you said that.
How important is science to prove that Bigfoot is real?
Well, I think it would have to be highly important. Well,
it's really,
yeah, it would be very crucial to prove, because according to it seems like the world evolves around science if we look at it and think about it.
Right.
So like, for example, there's people claim to have all these Texas samples, and they're coming back as this, or a lot of these all match up. But that still doesn't give us an answer what it is, because they don't have a specimen to compare.
Right.
Yeah, so
something to compare it to. Otherwise,
exactly.
It's just a sample.
Yeah, they can make speculation on, or what it is, and with some of the speculations that are being put out there, they're saying that's okay. Well, we got this, and this came back as this, so that's what it is. They don't know that. Right. It could be something totally different, unrelated to what they're trying to test it for. So, yeah, science is very important. There's some parts of science which I'm not gonna really get into. That there's some parts of it I don't agree with, but science, we do need science to give us some answers, especially when it comes to the existence of a species.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and go ahead,
it's
Baltimore.
like when you, it's like, it's like, let's say, for example, a possum. You come up there and you find the heritage of the possum, you find their droppings and everything like that, and we find his footprints. We know what a possum is and what it looks like, and all the ages that it goes through from birth to, actually when it dies. And there's some people that, you know, uh, you know, there's sometimes that we have to get, our evidence. We have to, study what's out there. Let's say, for example, if I find a track and everything like that, how can I be 100% sure, what it is? It could be bogus. It could be something, a cow footprint or barefoot or a bear track. There's sometimes for us researchers, we have to be 100% sure exactly what it is before we call it what we call it.
Right.
So,
that question is one that the Bigfoot community is completely split in half about. Half that believe in the spiritual side, the more what the community calls woo side,
Yeah.
do believe that science doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter because Bigfoots are everywhere, in everything, and come to them in everything. And then you have the other side that is the scientifical type of person or searcher that needs to have that proof,
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
Hold on, there was another question. No, I think this is kind of related to what I was saying. Tracy Arnold mentioned something above here. Just a thought: if they're in groups and you average 7 in a group, spread over 9 counties, he said that would be a lower number. But actually, yeah, I would. You're right. So,
Yeah.
So basically, it's like saying seven. Say you have 50 counties. Well, I don't know. Let me think about this carefully here.
But she was trying to get a number for the whole, North America. So.
Oh yeah.
That's because there's areas that don't have them at all, and that you could really only do it per little area,
Yeah. So, it's like saying you got 7. All right. Say you got 7 Bigfoots in each county. Say your state has 50 counties. That's only 350 Sasquatches. So basically, spread them out. Yeah, that would kind of make sense. And then what we got 50 states, right? That's 17,500. That's just going by off that. Well, with that being said, we're probably like underestimating. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's one way to look at it. I mean, because I mean the population. Like you said, it's a tricky thing. It's a touchy thing, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's some that say there could be millions. So who knows, right?
Well,
I don't think there's millions, but I think there's enough that people are having sightings all the time.
What's the hold on, if you guys hear me chewing because I'm eating a brownie my daughter made. Hold on, there was something I was gonna ask. Kind of off the wall.
Huh.
What's the biggest? All right, you guys could all answer this. What's the tallest that you believe Bigfoot could be?
I say no bigger than 9 foot.
All right.
I say 9 to 12, depending on the geographical area. Like, I think they are bigger in Canada and Alaska. I think they have the potential up there of getting bigger because there's bigger protein sources.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much my max would be right around 12.
Yeah.
But I think here in the Southwest, I think Baltimore is exactly right. I think they're like that, 8 to 9 feet.
Yeah. Yeah. Based off of eyewitness accounts here, just in the state of Virginia alone, between 6 to 8 feet on average. Because when I first started gathering reports, 6 feet was the starting point. Like a couple different witnesses, yeah, it was 6 feet tall, and that's usually the average height of a human. But
Right.
then I started getting them a little bit bigger, like 7, 8 feet tall. Like this lady and her daughter, when I met up with them, they took me to the location where they saw theirs, and yeah, we were looking about an 8-foot tall subject, 4 feet, a good 4 feet wide, So that was pretty interesting. And then based off the height description of what we witnessed back in 2014, I think the tallest one, and we believe our estimate was pretty accurate, around 8 feet mark. So,
the one where you were with Tracy?
Yeah, that was 2014. Me, Tracy Arnold, Kimmy and Darren, and then there was Cliff Stanley that was with us. So, yeah. What else we got here? Type 1s are bigger, right? I never really got into getting. I know we talked about the different types, but we never really got into that as far. I think they all vary. I think sometimes different parts of the region of the country, I think they may vary. It seems like they're bigger out on the West Coast, northwest, but
I think they vary. I think they're all different heights,
Oh yeah.
I think they're just like, in a way, that way they would be like a human, where if they had a bigger father and a taller mother, then they would be tall. If they have shorter ones getting together, they're going to have shorter kids. You know what? I think it's the genetics is going to be very similar to what happens to humans.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah, you can probably get, 5-footers at full adulthood, and you could get really big ones. Depending.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to throw a question out there, and if I'm out of line, I'm out of line. But I believe it's a safe question to ask, and the live chat, everybody on the live chat, please feel free. I'm watching live chat. I definitely want to hear your response to this. And I'm going to ask this in a serious manner. For a Sasquatch to be 20 feet tall, a Sasquatch to be 18 to 20 feet tall, wouldn't it be likely that the human population would be most likely have more sightings of seeing Sasquatch if they were 18 to 20 feet tall? And this is a serious question. And this is even if they come out at night. If they come out, even if they just come out only at night, but wouldn't it be more likely to see a 20-foot Sasquatch if they did exist? So
yes.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, if they did exist, I would think a large species like that would be more commonly seen and reported.
Things are brought up that with bigger animal, you have bigger evidence.
Well, yeah.
Where is it? Where are those? Where is it? Where's the big scat? Like a boulder. Where it would be that big.
Yep.
See how big a elephant's, scat is.
Oh yeah. Well,
how that would not just disappear. I'm sorry, that there would be evidence of that around.
Well, I've seen a bear. Yeah, I've seen bear scat. Well, this is I've shared this one time before. I was going down a trail and I was following these bear tracks, and they were bear tracks, and they were 15 inches long. I was like, damn, this is a big bear. And as I'm walking down this trail, the tracks are undeniable. They're right there. I'm following them. I said, man, this is awesome. And they seem to disappear and come back because some of the ground got solid, and. But then at one point I'm coming down and I see this big pile of scat. I was like, I'm looking at it, and I said, holy crap, this is the biggest pile. It was, think about the size of a basketball and add a little bit to that. This was almost like the size of a small. I know this sounds like I'm exaggerating, but it was almost the size of a small beach ball, between a beach ball and a basketball size, and it was a pile. And get this, it was not old either. It was very fresh because when I started poking it, yeah, there was some steam to it. So when I realized how fresh it was, I went back the other way because I knew I was very close to wherever that bear was. So yeah, I went back the other way that led back out to the road. So, but
okay, so now let's go to the. Oh, go ahead, Baldemar.
See, the thing is for me is that an 18-footer, 20-footer, whatever, it has to be. I don't know if y'all seen the movie Mighty Joe Young.
Oh yeah.
Now that he and I believe that they had what would happen is this animal would be this big. It would be this certain weight. I want to say it was maybe like around 2,000 pounds or something like that. It would be a big animal, and a big one like that, it would have to eat a lot in order for it to get his body weight, his size, and everything like that. And I just don't see it in Virginia because it needs to have a big amount of food, a big amount of protein in order for a species like that big in order to to survive. I could see maybe something like that down here because there are a whole bunch of wild feral hogs and that they could actually eat in order to keep that size. But like up in Virginia, stuff like that is totally impossible to have that big, and the scat and it would be very noticeable around that area.
I think something that big would decimate a deer, any kind of, herd that's there.
Can you imagine how many deer that Bigfoot has to eat in order for him to get that weight?
Right.
And besides, it's because deer are so lean, and some of these hogs here are pretty fat down here. Yeah. So and everything depends upon what they eat. Right. When I first heard about it, I never, for me it was like a joke because I've never heard of anything being that big.
Right. So. Well, there's a lot of issues with the bigger an animal gets. Look at an elephant. When an elephant goes through the jungle, it leaves a huge trail. And I know this from firsthand experience. I went to Thailand and I took a jungle trip on an elephant. And that sucker went wherever it wanted to go, and it decimated the area we were walking. And it wasn't 20 foot tall, So I can't imagine a 20-foot going through the woods and not damaging everything it's going through.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see. Yeah, cause like a couple other people say, I'm trying to remember, I think it was Brandon who said it. Okay, yeah, Brandon Morris made a good point. He said, I think some of us need to get the tape out, talking about tape measure, and check 20 feet. He said, 20 feet is like a flipping power pole. It's unreal to me. He says, 12 is pushing it. 20 would look like a tree walking around. There's no hiding. Like, he's got a good point. And hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I thought it went quiet. So yeah, I mean, 20 feet tall. Think about how wide they would have to be. I would think they would be pretty wide. I mean, really.
A stick figure, 20-footer. It's gonna be 4 feet, 5 feet across at that height.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's just that I see, but I don't know.
Right. Trying to think, there was something I just went through my mind. Well, yeah, okay. Think about a large bear. I mean, I've seen what bear do, like in the blackberry and raspberry bushes that grow wild out in the woods.
Right.
Bears, they live all kinds of berries, but there's one particular area where I know the bears love to roam because it's you got to walk across the creek and get into this area, and there's these old logging roads in there, and they stay pretty clear on the most part. I mean, the grass grows up tall in there, but you follow one, it goes down and narrows out into a small trail, and then another part of it splits off. But on the corner, the intersection where the logging road splits, there's a big cluster of these blackberry raspberry bushes, and you can see where the bears get into them. I mean, apparently the thorns and the briars don't bother them, but I mean the bears make it look like a bulldozer has gone through there. So
yeah,
and we're talking about average size bear. Most of the average size bears are around about 300 to 400, give or take. Maybe that's a lot of them are small. I've seen a lot of them smaller, but I've seen them around the 350 mark, in my area. So I'm going to say around 300 pounds. That size bear is making quite a mess.
Yeah.
So, but
it is.
So yeah, it was. You just have to imagine, anything much bigger. So yeah, there was a good reason why I brought that up. I wanted a lot of people in the live chat had their take on it, and they made some really good points. So I just and the other thing is too, that was a serious question I asked. That I wanted to, I was like, and the reason I asked it because if we were to consider that to be any bit true, we would need some answers. We would need, even though, of course, anyone who claims that is like, well, you've never seen one. I was like, well, I guess that explains.
Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. The physical, biological part of that, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It has to make sense. And the smaller heights, they can make sense. They can hide. They have places to go. They have food, enough food. There's,
right.
So.
And
anyway, look, Tracy says compare it to a giraffe.
Oh
a
yeah,
giraffe would be about 20 foot. Can you imagine that tall of a, a Bigfoot?
Right. Absolutely. Have you ever seen the movie, the Bigfoot documentary called Chasing Legend? Oh no, Chasing Bigfoot, I think it's called.
Bigfoot.
I think that's what it's called. It's a documentary. I got it. I got it. It came from I picked it up when I was in Ohio a couple of years ago, and at the conference up there. But it wasn't all that long ago. I watched it for the first time, and at once because there's like five parts to it. It's like one movie with 5 different movies in it, or 5 sections of it. It's very cool.
Oh.
And the one scene, it actually showed they were actually at some conference or convention center, and it showed a guy standing up against a wall, and then there was this big giant measuring strip there, and there was a Sasquatch, a Sasquatch figure they had made up, looked like made them look real, and it had hair on it, and it was standing at the 9 foot mark, and it was showing a guy about 6 foot. Man, that thing, it showed a good picture of it. I was like, when me and my daughter were watching, I was like, Brianna, look at that. Look how big 9 feet tall is compared to makes that little guy look, makes that 6 foot guy look like a little midget, or just a miniature person. So 9 feet is a giant. People don't realize that.
Big. I do agree. Yeah.
So it was interesting. Oh, real quick, right here on the live chat, the Bluesman Sasquatch Chaser said 20 foot would be 8 feet wide. Wow. So that's interesting. Brandon Moore said, reports I've heard, many have said 8 foot. 8-footers were like 4 feet wide. I think Kerry said his sighting was like a sheet of plywood, 8 by 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember him saying that. Something like that.
So, yeah, so that kind of confirms, I guess he goes on to say, yeah, so a 20-footer would have to be 8 feet wide, massive. He said, I agree with Bluesman.
Yeah. If they were that big, I would not go out in the woods, period.
Right. You know? Yeah, you would have that.
No.
Basically, you would have a King Kong out in the woods, and that's tearing. That would be eating everything in sight just to survive.
I think at that height, they could walk right into a town, and ain't nobody gonna bother it. You know.
Well, yeah. Oh man.
Like King Kong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the thing is, for a massive animal or anything to be that large. Think about the animal. They would have to be eating everything every day, and they would have to eat to survive.
Oh,
you know.
Yep.
So
they would.
I mean, eventually, you think the Forest Service or anybody that be observing, he's like, "Why all these trees knocked down? We're not clearing this area out." So I don't know. Yeah, Tracy said tomorrow I'll get the tape out and I'll show you guys how tall that really is. Oh yeah, do a video about it, Tracy. That'll be cool. So
I think Sam did that one time too.
Oh, okay. Casey said I'm 6 foot. Huh?
I thought he was on his truck or something and had the measuring tape to show how tall that would be.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was him. Not sure.
Yeah, Casey said.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, Casey said I'm 6'2", and when I came across the 8'1" Eaton, yeah, it made me feel like a midget. And then Bluesman says 20-footer at 8 feet wide would be 6 feet. Would have 6 foot long arms. We are as tall and we are wide. With our arms stretched out, so are primates. Yep, absolutely. And Bobcat Wong said, Bigfoot put a tree on my truck. Okay. Oh, that was random. Sam said, I'll do that. Okay, that should be interesting. Gary Johnson.
But that's the thing, Gary. We do believe. I do believe they're out there because there are people that I know who say they have had credible sightings, and I believe them until something happens that proves that wrong. So I still believe they exist. I may not have seen one yet, but I believe they exist.
Yeah,
and that's okay. That's okay to be a believer and not a knower.
Right. Absolutely.
It's okay. And but it's still there's certain things that have to be.
Absolutely. And regardless of all the discussions and topics we bring about, and regardless of who says what, we in like me and Nikki or anybody else, we could all agree to disagree on certain topics. We may not completely see eye to eye, and there's no wrong in that. And so and for those who believe that don't, they may not be knowers, but they believe, either way, how we look at this, we definitely have to respect everything from all points of views. I mean, different opinions, different, whatever, agreements and disagreements, they're always going to be a part of this community. So right. A lot of people do respect it. Then again, you got people that go Facebook Live and make up lies and bash others. So, but, that's just the way the community goes. So, and we got to overlook those kind of people. So, but overall, respect everybody and work together. So,
yeah.
Oh, Tracy just said,
Tracy.
you will one day, Nikki. Yeah.
I'm not so sure because Tracy said he didn't know if he wanted to see another one. So after seeing Tracy run out of the forest, I don't know anymore.
Well, that's the thing,
If
Nikki.
I
It's
want
not.
to.
It's not. It just happens. It's definitely. It's not a planned
I
incident.
know.
You know.
Yeah. That's why
It
I've
happens
always
to.
said when I go out, I'm not really going out and searching for Bigfoot. I'm having a good time because that's always been my number one thing is I go out there to get away from, crap at home with TVs and phones and so most of the time we're just having fun and setting up the horseshoes and going on the hikes. And that's how it all started for me. It was being out there away from the city life, or I guess you would call this a city. So
Well, Nikki, one
it,
day you're going to hear about this back road where a lot of people have been seeing Bigfoot. And one day you're going to be riding down this road. You're going to be approaching this road. And you're going to tell your husband will be driving. You'd be like, go down here. Go down there. We need to ride down here. Let's just go down here. And you guys are cruising along in the truck. And all of a sudden, from out of
that would be
nowhere,
me.
yeah, from out
I'd
of
be the
nowhere, here
one.
comes this Bigfoot. You guys crash him.
Yeah.
And then next you know, he's tumbled in front of the vehicle. And your kids are in the car. You tell your kids to stay in the car. And then your husband's got his gun. He's poking at it. I think it's dead. And the next you know, you guys are throwing it on your roof, taking it back to the house. Next you know, you got Harry and the Hendersons all over
Harry
again.
in the house. I got Harry or Henry in the house.
Oh, then you can tell us all about Bigfoot and maybe learn from him.
I'll have all the answers.
Yep.
But,
you'll be doing his nails. You'll be clipping hair, dropping it in paper bags, sending it off.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's how it's gonna happen.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been several times, like when I go camping, and in my area, driving down that dirt gravel forest road at nighttime, late at night, like anywhere from 9 o'clock, anytime it's dark. But there was one time I was coming back. I had gone out to the store. The store is about 6 miles out. It's a little country store, and I've gone out there to either pick up a few minor supplies, or I'll go up there to get signal, phone service, and use Wi-Fi sometimes. And but while on my way back down, heading back towards camp, I'll creep along. I'm just driving along, maybe 20 miles an hour, and I tell you what, sometimes driving down those roads at night, slow like that, it can be very creepy feeling. Just it gives you that eerie feeling to begin with, and all of a sudden, you're starting to see different wildlife. Oh, there's some deer. Oh, there's a coyote right there. Cool, and then you're driving along, and raccoons crossing in front of you, and then you never know what else. Sometimes you might have an owl swoop down in front of you, passing by.
Well, there was one time we were coming out from camping, okay? And I haven't told, the only person who knows this story is my sister because she was with me. We were coming out from the lake, from camping, and we were heading to another camp area about, 30 miles away. And we were just got on the highway, and it's surrounded by forest. We were up in the mountains, and we're driving, and I'm trailing my dad who had a trailer. So I'm following him, and my sister and I just happened to look over to the right, and we saw this big black thing on the side of the road.
What?
And it was like laying down, kind of, or sitting down, laying down. But we saw it, but I'm going 50 miles an hour on this road. And my sister says, turn around. I go, what? She goes, I swear I just saw something on the side of the road. And I go, I did too. But the situation, we were following my dad because he was having issues with the trailer. So we were trailing him.
So you didn't get a chance to.
We didn't get a chance to turn around.
Oh, man.
We looked at each other and we didn't say Bigfoot. We did not say that. Okay. We were just like, what was that? It was big. And I go, it was a cow. It had to be a cow. You know, that was my way to get out of the situation. I'm like,
Yeah.
that had to be a cow. It was about 10 in the morning, 9, 10 in the morning. It was daylight. And it was just a weird thing because it didn't look like a stump squatch. It looked like something alive.
Wow.
So my main thing was it was a cow. It was a black cow sitting on the side over there, you know, out in the middle of the woods. There was a cow. So,
Yeah.
That's like my only, but I can't say, you know, I never tell people that story because I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So it just goes it always went into my memories, you know, me and my sister who will talk about it occasionally.
That's interesting.
Because
how far is that from where you are now?
Oh, that's 9 hours from where I'm at now.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
We were in the mountains in northern Arizona, and but right off the Mogollon Rim. So that's where I used to. It was one of my very first search areas is where we were going. And so I had always gone in that area. It's actually the area Mitchell Waite used to go to too.
Interesting. Yeah, I used to like watching Mitchell Waite's videos, just to check him out, see what he comes across, because he has come across some very interesting structures out there in his area. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're huge because those pines are very heavy. They're big.
Yeah.
You know, the ponderosa pine is really a big and heavy tree. So when you get a big structure, it's like, wow, you know, a Boy Scout, Girl Scout couldn't have moved this sucker. You know?
Well, you know, the biggest structures I ever come across. Do you recall? Well, let me think about that for a second. Yeah, the biggest one that was really fascinating to me. I don't know if you recall me sharing images, or they're one of my teepee structures. Well, I call it a teepee structure. It was up on a ridge, and it was the one. I used the picture I took of it. I used it on the cover of my latest book I have out called Learning Bigfoot. And yeah, it's one the trees. Man, let me see if I can find that real quick. Actually, give me a second. I don't know if I can pull it up. I have it. I don't know how to pull it up. I have it on my YouTube community section. I don't think I can pull it up through here, unless I could go to Facebook and pull it up somehow. Tell you what, be able to find it this way. Oh, anyone else trying to do? See if it pulls up this way. Oh, there we go.
They're asking about your book too.
Okay. Tell you what, well, before I'll screenshot. You can find it on Amazon. Here it is. I'll do the screenshot of the right here. This is Learning Bigfoot, Discovering the Hidden Mystery. Now, the cover, can you guys see the cover of the book?
Yeah.
Which, let me see if it'll let me hide. All right, let me scroll down. Oh, it's not going to let me scroll down, is it? Oh, yeah, there we go. I wanted to show you. That's the part I wanted to show you right there. The title's covering the top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that there was one of my most fascinating structures. All those were joined together. They all meet up at the top right here. Now, you know who was with me when I found that?
Who?
Fred.
Okay.
Yeah, Fred was when we were hiking up. I tell you, we actually got we had some very interesting activity. This is up across from my camp, in my camp area. after
that one right there on the horizontal is crazy. Is that free floating on there?
Well, which one? This
one
here?
On the left, the horizontal one. Yeah. No, the one going right in the middle.
Oh, this here?
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Now this here was actually part of a. This here was actually part of a down tree. That's like kind of the root ball. If you follow it down to the left, it actually it's an old rotted tree. It should show you the root system down below.
Oh.
So, but yeah, but before finding this here, before we further, this is actually much further up on top of the ridge. But before we, when we first got on the lower part of this ridge, we had just came from another ridge, and when we got up there, we all had to catch our breath because we came down one ridge, and climbed up, a kind of somewhat of a steep area. And when we got up there, we were all sitting down on the ground, and then I'm the first one that stands up. I had a piece of wood. The piece of wood I had in my hand was a part of a yellow pine, and I decided to use it for a tree knock, And I gave off a tree knock, and what was interesting about it, right away, from the same ridge we just came from, down to looking back at that ridge where we just came from, the first tree knock came to the left, and I was like, "Wow, this is in the middle of day. This is like broad daylight," and I got a response, right after mine. And then when that one responded, about maybe 10 seconds later, further up on the ridge came another knock. I was like, "What in the world?" I said, "We got something going on up here." We didn't see nothing, but I thought that was very fascinating that something was responding to me, And it was like, I like to believe it was a Bigfoot, When the one that responded, the first response to me, when they gave his tree knock off, and the one up on the further up on the right made me think like, okay, we're giving off signal, we're giving off locations, So
yeah,
that's what I felt like. I mean, maybe it meant something else, but just to me, that's what tree knocks to me are like, what do you call it? Like location signals. So yeah, so that's yeah. But yeah, this is the book. You can find this right here on Amazon. Learning Bigfoot, Discovering the Hidden Mysteries. So, let me get back to the live chat real quick here. Uh-oh, I lost it. There we go. So, all right, am I missing any questions here?
No, somebody's asking.
Oh, sorry, Daniel is first still researching in your area. Now, I used to watch his live streams, but he doesn't put out any videos on YouTube. No, his YouTube channel is inactive. He hasn't uploaded that in over 2 years. It's Freddy59100, but he still tells everybody to go look at it. But the last video on there from
there's nothing there.
Yeah, the latest video up there that he has on his YouTube channel is pretty much bashing me. But I don't know why he still has it there, but he's proud of that video. So. But nah, he hasn't uploaded nothing in over 2 years. Everything they do is Facebook Live. He does come into my area, which which it's public property, just like where he usually goes. It's all part of the same national forest, just different locations. So, yeah. Chubb says, "Are structures used for blinds?" That's a possibility. I don't see why they couldn't be.
Right.
At the same time, sometimes I think they're also used as possible. I don't know if this is fact, but I do believe sometimes in some cases they can be used as I do believe they could be used as maybe territorial markers in some instances. Could Cy wants to know, do I agree with Richter bashing MK Davis? Well, tell you what I heard Richter say. Richter, in my opinion, laid out some information more or less made some valid points. However, I'm right now I'm not going to agree or disagree, but Richter laid out some very valid points. Richter knows Bob Gimlin very, very well. Yeah, Bob, he's known Bob, and regardless if there's information that's out there that says otherwise about Bob, there's no fact, there's no information, there's nothing to say that he's did anything that MK put out there. So I really don't know how to respond to that, to be honest with you. So yeah, I really don't know how to respond.
You either agree or don't agree.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing because some of us like some of the stuff MK used to put out, and so, but we all really love Bob,
Yeah.
And there's a point where you have kind of a loyalty, to him being the person who was really there, and you want to believe him. And there may be whatever other evidence people are saying, but why is it all coming out right now? And
exactly. Yeah. Why turn on Bob now? What's the point? He's 84 years old or 87, whatever old he is. So.
And also, now MK may have some paperwork and stuff, but most of his search is getting the video and altering it, manipulating it, and making it fit his story, to me.
Right.
Okay. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That it doesn't make a whole lot of a difference.
Right.
I don't see where the original film, all the stuff he says that's in that film is there.
Yeah.
I don't see the blood in the blood puddle. I don't see Bigfoot hanging off the side of the, what did he call that? Bank.
Yeah. Right.
I don't see all that stuff, and I don't think some of that had to do with that actual site. I don't know. There's a lot of different things, and supposedly the gun, somebody has bought the old gun that Bob had, but Bob already said that was destroyed or something in a fire. And
Bob also stated that the gun that was supposed to be given to the other old man had some notches on it. Bob said his gun never had no notches put on it.
Right.
Yeah. He said it was he did. Yeah, he said it was a 30-06. So
we're not going to know. We'll never know these answers. And it's just an opinion and his theory. And he can believe that they killed 5 or 7 or whatever and buried them and then unburied them. And then how would you know that or even suspect that?
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
No way that is making a narrative to me. There's no way, because Bob's the only one left. There's no witnesses. There's nothing. I mean,
yeah.
And Patterson's wife, she wasn't there either. She, anything that comes out of her mouth would just be hearsay. So
now, perhaps what MK is trying to put out there, if that happened, that may very well have happened, but I don't think it has anything to do with Bob. I think that could have happened at a whole different time frame. Right. But because as far as I'm concerned, it was just Bob and Roger on horseback. They didn't mention, there was no mention even from Roger that they were accompanied by anyone else. It was just them. So, and what's the other thing? Yeah, Chubb said it's funny how David says he has a lot but has shown nothing. Well, apparently the people that are following MK are, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it.
If you want to believe in his storyline, then believe in it. and support
Yeah.
them. You know, I mean, there's no reason for anybody to get upset about it. It happened 50 years ago. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. And for
I
those
don't
who,
believe
yeah,
it. So what? You know,
I don't,
it's
yeah, I
not
don't see why
answering our
people need to.
questions to today.
Right. I don't see why people need to start disrespecting Bob over a story that's being told in recent times. Um, you
Right. That's
know,
the thing about with MK is he's calling Bob a liar. And that's where he took it from being a film he's analyzing to attack. That's what people are considering the attack because he's
right,
now calling Bob the liar. He should just stick of the film and just stick with it. And if he has followers, fine, he has followers. And the rest
right,
of the community can do and believe in Bob or believe in the other stuff. There's all kinds of different um, paths you can take in this community. So
yeah,
it's just we can't get along. That's the
right,
thing. Nobody can get along with anybody else. But a lot of the fun gets taken out of it when we get to that level, and
exactly.
ugh, so
Yeah, Chubbs also made a good point. He likes to quote people that have passed, which is funny. So yeah, but good point. Good point. I do want to
yeah.
respond. Yeah, I do want to respond to a question from Casey. If Casey's still listening, he had asked about rock clashing or rock clacking. Is that a form of communication? Um, Honestly, that to me would actually indicate so. I mean, in my opinion, I believe it would be similar to tree knocks, in a way of communicating like location signals. Then again, the sound of rock clacking, could that be something else? We really don't know, but I like to believe that it
We
is
don't know.
yeah. I mean, I like to believe that it is some form of communication. You know,
You know what I
uh,
like to believe it is?
what's that?
I like to believe it's more use when they're trying to break open. You see when
Ah,
you're out on the creeks and stuff and you see the freshwater shells, the freshwater oyster or clam or whatever it is, and that they're
absolutely.
using that as a tool to break those open. Because I have gone to, on those hikes and you just see them broken open all over. Now, yes, it could be raccoons are breaking into those. I know they do that, and or also those other what's that other little
Squirrel, chipmunk,
little animal?
chipmunk.
uh no, it kind of looks like a weasel. What's it's called
Oh, like a
um
like a river rat, like sea otter or something.
I can't think. Oh, but that's another one too. They get some really big rats out there.
Yeah,
um
muskrats. Yeah,
yeah Anyway, that's not what I'm thinking of, but I can't think of the name.
yeah, muskrat. No,
So
otter.
well, beavers probably too, but I've never heard of a beaver or
Nah.
read that they eat that.
But
Anyway,
for the record, we could rule out raccoons. I can tell you a little something about raccoons. People probably don't know.
huh?
One, raccoons, they underestimate those little mammals because a raccoon, you could put a whole can of vegetables or some kind of food, a whole can good in front of them, and they will open that can and with their bare hands. That's
Yep.
Raccoons are incredible creatures. So, um,
Yeah.
but another thing, a fun fact too, a lot of people don't realize you'll find a lot of raccoon tracks around waterways, around sources of water, because
Yeah,
they
they like
eat
to
the
wash
food.
their food.
Now see, that's where I'm making the correction on you. That's what a lot of people believe. Raccoons do
Well,
not
my
have.
friend had one, and that little sucker would take that thing and turn on the damn water and wash his food.
You know why? Raccoons do not have saliva glands. They
Oh,
need to,
cool. I
they
didn't know
need to
that.
wet. They have to wet their food in order to digest it and eat it. So
Ah. Yeah,
yeah.
well, they're still washing it.
Well, yeah, they're still
They're
washing
dipping
it,
it
but
in the water. They're washing it to me.
but yeah, that's a fun little fact about raccoons. A lot of people don't realize they think that's all they're doing is they're washing their food, but they're actually getting it wet so they can swallow it because they don't have saliva glands like we do and other animals do. So,
Okay,
but
so let me tell you this. since we're talking about rocks and them using them as tools. Okay,
Oh yeah.
I think they would do that. And to me, okay, I like what's his name up there in Ontario, Sasquatch, not Sasquatch,
Patterson?
Ontario.
No.
No, not Sasquatch, Ontario. Jim, what's his name? Had Big Red up there in uh, a
I'm not really.
Timber Giant,
Oh,
Timber Giant
okay.
Bigfoot.
Gotcha.
Jim had that Big Red that he caught that Bigfoot facing away from him, and it was breaking the nuts with the rock.
Oh wow.
And you know, half the people say it was fake, and some believe it, but I happen to think that's real. I think that footage is. It looks to me like how people have described Bigfoot, because many sightings have said that the hair on the top kind of looked fro, like an afro kind,
Yeah.
real wispy, and with the hairs, and that's how that one looked.
Huh. Interesting. Oh man.
And you could
Bobcat
see
Wall.
him with his arms. I know he's crazy. I was reading this week.
Sorry, I can help laugh. um. Wow. You know what? I am actually surprised. I'm very impressed with my internet. My hotspot
I
is still
know
holding
you were
together.
supposed to end this like
Yeah,
an hour ago.
it has. I'm watching it very closely. So far, I had 2 GB left, so I mean, I'm probably getting ready to exceed it now anyway because I think it's usually 1 hour of streaming eats up 1 GB real quick anyway. So we've been on for 2 hours already. So
We're on 2. We can end it now.
yeah, just to be on the safe side because it won't renew till after this weekend. But
Okay.
got some bills to take care of, and hopefully I have enough to pay my phone bill. So, but I got other things that take priority over the phone right now. So, so, well, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually had a great chat tonight. If you have not done so, please feel free to give our tonight's episode a like and definitely share the video around to help spread the awareness that every Friday night we go live on Friday nights. And sometime next week, sometime during the middle of the week or sometime next week, I'm going to be a guest on a new radio show. It's I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's one they're actually stationed out of West Virginia, and they actually work with one of my speakers that will be at the event with Matt Burns, one of our film producers, that will be doing a movie presentation of their new movie that's being released. It's a Bigfoot horror movie. He said they had some comedy in there, I believe, but he said it's a good illustration of the Bigfoot culture in general. So it should be a very interesting film. So he'll be selling copies of it at our event. So, and don't forget, everybody, June. Don't forget about Jimmy Blanton's event, June 8th in Kentucky, the Harlan, Kentucky CryptoCon. You can find information on that on Facebook. And then April 27th and 28th, right here in Virginia, it's an open invitation. We got a weekend Bigfoot camping expedition. I think it's going to be a very nice turnout. So come on out. And June 29th, the ECBRO's second annual Virginia Bigfoot Con is taking place in Waynesboro, Virginia. If you want information on that and tickets, you can go to VirginiaBigfootCon.com. VirginiaBigfootCon.com. Find me on Facebook. If you're not following me on Facebook, I'm on Facebook. Instagram. I'm actually on Twitter as well. I haven't been active on Twitter in a little while. It's one of the apps I had to delete off my phone to clear up memory. But I get around on social media. So I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you again. This has been an awesome Friday night, and be on the lookout for us again next Friday night. We start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. So this is Dan Benoit and Miss Nikki Cologne, and I'm actually looking at the panel.
Bigfoot Weekly.
Oh, that's right. If you're on Facebook.
Facebook.
Yep. Get on Bigfoot Weekly. And if you guys see a post I share on my timeline, please feel free to share it because Facebook's got me restricted. I can't share in certain groups, only my own. So they're being butt munches. so yeah, everybody, thank you guys again. And you guys heard it here. Check out my latest playlist videos of my Squatch thoughts of the day. Check them out. There's about 9-10 videos on there. They're not long. Listen for them for yourselves because people like to take my information and twist it around and add to it and say things that are not in it. I want you guys to listen for yourself. Everything you guys witness and hear, you guys are my witnesses. Keep it squatchy. Until next time, guys, we're out.
Peace.